Hi, welcome back to the Onyx Geek channel, and today I wanted to talk about a Netflix show I watched called Bet, and it's based on Kakegurui, which is also on Netflix, and it's an anime. So a few nights ago, I stayed up all night, and I couldn't get to sleep, so I went on Netflix, and was looking for something to watch, and then I saw Bet, and I saw on YouTube that it was kind of based off Kakegurui, and I kind of was expecting it to be bad because it was like a live action kind of thing. They're not gonna have the anime colored hair. It's not gonna be anime. But I was like, we'll just watch it. And so I binge watched it throughout the night, and I finished it, and it was really good actually. By the way, the first half of this video will be spoiler free, or I'll try and make it as spoiler free as I can. And then the other half I will be talking about the movie and the things I like. So the Kakegurui original anime on Netflix I watched and I really loved, and that was my favorite kind of anime show that I'll watch over and over again. And I love it. But one thing that I never that I didn't like was that there was no relationships, romantic relationships really, and you kind of had to speculate and guess and almost push it on them. And there was no romantic relationships. Yumiko, the main character, was paired with Mary Saltome, Ryota, and Kurari. And it's a lot. But that's one thing I didn't like. Another thing was the lore behind it. There's another show called Kakegurui Twin, and that one was very confusing for me because I didn't read the comics or manga that went along with it, so I didn't know the lore. Now, what I liked in Bet was they added more lore, and they widened the world a bit, so it wasn't in Asia. It was just a prep school in America or something, but it had people of all genders and nationalities and everything. So the characters looked a lot different, but it wasn't bad. And honestly, the actors did a good job at playing those characters. And so yeah, that was one thing I liked about it. Another was it didn't I like the soundtrack. The songs they put on, they were kind of good. So I was walking. The first episode had a cool song, and I was like, okay, I could watch this. And they changed some of the names, which I didn't like, because Ryota was some kind of English name. I think he was Scottish. He had a Scottish Australian accent too. But honestly, if you think about it, it makes sense because placing it in Korea or Japan, wherever it was, having it take place in one Asian country doesn't really make a lot of sense. And so they broadened the world by making it, I really don't know where it was, but it was America or the UK, but it was much broader, and future presidents and politicians and major people went there instead of just they basically broadened the world. And so they changed names. They had to, because these people were of different nationalities, and it wouldn't make sense for them to have an Asian name. And another thing was it wasn't anime, so it didn't have crazy pink hair or whatever, but they tried their best, and honestly, that was it was pretty good. It wasn't terrible or anything. And also it added so much more lore and just possibilities. It had little hints from the original Kakegurui, so that was cool. And then it kept you on your toes. There were cliffhangers at the end of the episodes, and it kept making me want to press another episode and another and another. So yeah, if you like the original Kakegurui and you also don't mind watching a live action kind of, then you should probably try Bet. Okay, now we get to talk about all the spoilers, and not spoilers, just like I want to talk about the show, so let's talk about it. I really liked the first episode and how they just pushed you into it. It had me confused at first because I was like, I thought we were doing like the Asian country stuff and they were all going to be Asian. They weren't, which makes sense, but for me at the time I was like, I'm kind of confused. And then they were all walking out like, yeah, it was cool. But then, and like the soundtrack, it was coming on at the end. I was like, ooh, they put like Billie Eilish in there? That's cool. So, and then it kept having cliffhangers at the end of the episodes. There's the one where she was going to kill that guy, and she killed him with scissors, or she hit him with scissors at the end of the episode. I was like, my goodness gracious, what's going to happen next? And so I pressed it, and that was funny because it turned out she was just thinking of that, like imagining the crimson blood. It didn't actually happen, which was kind of like, it's kind of like a writer's hack that writers do sometimes. But if you take it too far, it blows off. But that one wasn't that bad, and it made sense. And honestly, I don't know what would have happened next if she hit that guy with scissors. But I loved Yumiko's character. Her actor was great. I liked like her like cunningness and just she was ruthless and crazy, and then she would also just like be, yay, we're doing this, yay, and it was kind of like weird at first, and then it was like getting into it, it's kind of like with her character, she's just chaotic. So yeah, that was fun. And then she trusted her friends so much, which is what the normal the Yumiko from Kakegurui, the anime, did, and that was cool. I also liked now they took out Sayaka's character, the president's secretary, and I was very angry about that because the actual Kakegurui show, the only relationship that I could just be like, bam, relationship, is Sayaka and Kurari. Because of that one episode in season 2 of Kakegurui, where she jumps off the building and there's the blue moon and flowers, and it's beautiful and romantic. And I probably watched that episode way too many times. But they took Sayaka out, and I saw that at first, and they were like introducing the student council. But when Kurari came in, walking with a woman with a mask on, who's obviously her twin sister, but there was no Sayaka, that I didn't like at first. Honestly, if I think about it now, it makes a lot of sense for her to not be in there because she didn't really have a purpose other than sitting behind Kurari, maybe cleaning off a desk, asking her about the fish tank kind of thing. She wasn't really necessary to the plot. So, yeah. Plus, they definitely made up for it with Kurari's sister, and I forgot her name, but Riri. In the Bet season, in the Bet show, her name is Riri. She's awesome. Because at first they're just like, they're telling you, oh, she's a mass murderer, blah, blah, mixed with this, and she's ruthless, and she doesn't speak to anyone. And that was just them telling you. If they told you, you're just like, cool, I guess. But when you see it, you're like, oh my goodness. So when she like blew that stepfather and her daughter up, I was just like, whoa, cool. Because you actually see it. And so they made up with everything for her. Plus, it just went into the lore more because the student council, the deaths they were sitting at, it had like a fish, you could see blue, and you could see that there were fish. It was like a glass table, and there were fish in the water, which is brought back from the Kakegurui anime, where Kurari was obsessed with a fish tank and the best of the best coming to the top, yet weakest dying, which was cool. And then they were introducing the student council. Honestly, there's that one guy he's just forgettable, and I actually didn't notice he was on the student council until they kept saying he's on the student council, he's on the student council. Oh no, he's on the student council. Is he going to tell someone? And I was like, he's on the student council. So yeah, that was a bit funny. And I don't know, he was playing the strip casino game with Yumiko, but I forgot he was there. I honestly wasn't really paying attention. When they introduced Suki, it was cool because Suki was supposed to be Yumemike from the anime, and I like how they blended it, and he had like pink hair, and I really liked it, and I liked his character. It yeah, it was cool. And honestly, I totally believed the fake death. I was like, oh, okay, he's done. Which is kind of funny, but I liked Mary's character because at first I saw her and she had like all the braids in her hair, and I was like, wow, she actually looks very pretty. So I already saw her and was like, okay, I kind of like her character. And then she was talking and stuff, and then I never really didn't like the character. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have wanted them to make the character blonde. So, yeah. And her relationship with Riri was so cute and beautiful. Yeah, that's one thing I really, really loved. That made up for Karari and Sayaka not, like, being there. And there was the tech guy who was always on his computer. And Magari, I like Magari as a character. She's just crazy. And I like how they did her character, how like she wore the eye patch, but she actually had an eye under there and whatever. I'm kind of glad they didn't put her in the gun thing and Yumiko in there, even though in the anime that was funny. So, but I liked her character and how like you saw a vulnerability to her character, so she wasn't just all crazy. She had other things going on too. And so I like the relationships. And then Orion and Yumiko, they had a cute thing going on. And then he won the game of the prom thing and became king, and she became a husband. And I was like, you messed up, man. You messed up a lot. A lot. And then Yumiko, I was like, you also messed up. You should have just walked away. So, yeah. But she was still friendly with him, which I'm like, okay. Yeah, and they were doing the hunt thing. It was different in the anime. They had a thing like that, except you didn't run around in the forest. So I thought it was like challenges with cards and gambling. It wasn't that, it was running through the forest, which is fine. But I was like, oh, what is this? And they were running around and they were flirting and whatever, and it was kind of cute. Then she got like shot in the leg, and I'm like, my gosh. Because I was just like, oh, flying stuff, cool. And then someone got shot, and I was like, goodness sakes. And I'm just like trying to think about it, and goes through the leg, like how do you do that? And then Karari, I don't know her character in the vet, her name, forgot it. Yeah, Kira, maybe? I don't know, but honestly I like the name Karari more, so I'm just gonna say that. Karari, when she came out with her bow and arrows and was like shooting, I was like, oh my goodness. And she was like wearing a different outfit. I think it was like black pants and a black shirt. And honestly, if I had to like pick a crush out of, or not a crush, just like a hottest woman award moment, then it would be her with the bow and arrow. Yeah, and she was like chasing her down. And speaking of Karari, I liked her character's portrayal of her. And she kept on the blue lipstick, which was nice and cool. And honestly, without it, she wouldn't have looked like Karari. And yeah, I love that. And at the end, there was the poison drink thing, which was cool. And it also brought back like Easter egg kind of things from the actual anime, where in one episode Yumiko gets poisoned, in another episode she fights with Karari, or does a gamble to see if she can stay in the school. So yeah, that was cool. So to sum it all off, that was a good show. I really loved it, and you should definitely try it out if you like gambling, romance stuff, and Kakegurui, definitely. Probably some other stuff in there, but it was good. I loved it. It also had like about a bunch of mystery spy stuff, which, yeah. So definitely try it out, and honestly, I'd give it like, if I were to put the anime Kakegurui and the live action one they did, probably not called the live action, the series, Bet and Kakegurui, I don't know which one's better, because they were both good in different ways. Honestly, Kakegurui gets 1 point off because when Karari and Sayaka were alone in the flowers, she licked her forehead instead of kissing her, so yeah. But also, Yumiko did, she was like, so that was just like a, but Bet, yeah, I don't know. I think they're equal. None of them are better than the other. I think I like them the same. They just offer different things. So I will definitely be going back to Kakegurui to watch my favorite episode where she jumps off the building and they land in flowers. But I also will be going back to watch the scene where she's with the bow and arrow and she's walking through the forest looking super hot. So, yeah.